In 1885, Carl Benz successfully employed an internal combustion gasoline engine as a power source for his three-wheeled motor wagon, thus casting the die for today's high-tech automobiles. Over 100 years in the making, today's cars have evolved from dreams and inspirations of thousands of people, dating back centuries ago. Although responsible for much of our nation's growth, the automobile is today taken for granted by most Americans. However, there are many who remember our nation's past. Automobile enthusiasts restore and preserve these relics of days gone by. Thanks to these individuals, on any given weekend, just about anywhere in the country, there is a car show displaying examples of our country's automotive heritage. On Sunday, August 25, 1985, the exhibiting of this automotive heritage continued at Johnson Manor, a turn-of-the-century estate with a historic background of its own. This show was definitely not going to be your average run-of-the-mill car show. Thanks to the extensive planning and preparations of the Ohio region's northern chapter of the Antique Automobile Club of America. Formed with the goal of preserving and restoring automobiles and automotive history, the Antique Automobile Club of America was originally founded by 4 men in 1935. Today, this organization has grown to 100 regions with over 50,000 members nationwide and is one of the oldest organizations of its kind in the world. The Ohio region's northern chapter is the second oldest chapter in the country. Originally, it was founded and incorporated in the state of Ohio as the Cleveland region in 1946. In 1951, the Cleveland region expanded to include the entire state, with 6 other chapters being formed. With a total of 7 chapters and over 600 members, this makes Ohio one of the most active states in the AACA organization. Planning for the Johnson Manor Car Show began early. While Christmas shopping at Johnson Manor's Carriage House Shops in the fall of 1983, Jim John, president of Ohio Region's Northern Chapter, decided that the Johnson Manor estate was a perfect place to hold a car show. With the Antique Automobile Club of America's golden anniversary approaching in 1985, Jim decided his chapter should sponsor a car show to help celebrate this event. Other chapter members agreed, and Sunday, August 25, 1985, was chosen as the day to hold their show. Committees were formed and meetings were held. With hard work and dedication, the Johnson Manor Car Show began to take shape. On Saturday, August 4, 1985, the project committee held a picnic at AACA member John Taylor's house. While get-togethers like this are fairly common throughout the year among AACA members, today's picnic was going to be somewhat special. A camera crew from Berkshire Videography would be on hand, videotaping some of the members' automobiles. This footage would be used for a 30-second public service television commercial promoting the upcoming Johnson Manor Car Show. The Berkshire crew had their work cut out for them, as the AACA members positioned 26 automobiles around the Taylors' backyard pond. Positioned around the pond were a 1941 Lincoln Zephyr, a 1929 Ford Model A, and a 1939 Plymouth convertible coupe. The 1941 Lincoln Zephyr is a 2-door coupe with a 12-cylinder engine. The 1929 Model A is equipped with a Mullins trailer, 3-bar bumpers, and a stone guard over the radiator, a very popular accessory for its time. The 1939 Plymouth is a 2-door convertible coupe with a rumble seat. This was the last year Plymouth built cars with rumble seats. Other cars on hand included a 1929 Studebaker, a 1937 Cadillac sedan, a 1938 Buick Coupe, and a 1953 Rolls-Royce. Not all activities were centered around the cars. Many members and their families enjoyed rowboating, fishing, swimming, and a radio-controlled model speedboat. After gathering many static shots, the Berkshire video crew needed some action footage. 6 cars were chosen from the group and were driven to Cleveland's nearby Metro Park system. Once there, many different run-bys were conducted, providing the camera crew with some of its best footage of the day. On August 6th, Jim John and Berkshire producer Grant Geist wrote the script for the television commercial. The commercial's narration and editing was completed the next day, and on Sunday, August 11, 1985, the commercial aired on local television for the very first time.
The Antique Automobile Club of America invites you to come celebrate our 50th anniversary at the Johnson Manor Car Show, Sunday, August 25th. Hundreds of antique, classic, and special interest autos will be on display, including the 1935 Duesenberg, once owned by Clark Gable. Carriage rides, picnic lunches, and Dixieland jazz. There's something for the entire family at the Johnson Manor Estate, located southeast of Cleveland on Valley View Road in Macedonia. For information, call 676-5917.
Now, with an aggressive promotional campaign well underway and the show rapidly approaching, Ken McDowell, the chapter's public relations director, scheduled a news conference for Friday morning, August 16th, at the Johnson Manor Estate. Invitations were sent out to newspapers, television and radio stations, and some local leaders in the business community. The AACA members assembled 11 cars in front of the Manor House, including a Cleveland-built 1922 Templar, a 1926 Nash four-door sedan, and a 1930 Auburn Bowtail Speedster. The cars were positioned in front of the Manor House facing east, so that the photographers on hand could take full advantage of the morning sun. Also on hand to help with promotions was Clark Schaefer, a Clark Gable look-alike. Mr. Schaefer spent the morning posing next to the members' cars for publicity photographs. After the photo session, the press and club members attended a special brunch courtesy of the Johnson Manor staff. Upon completion of the brunch, members of the media also enjoyed a tour of the Manor House and grounds. The Manor House is made up of 26 rooms and has had 3 prominent owners during the 20th century. These owners included George Bishop, a well-known businessman and financier, Leonard Firestone, son of Harvey Firestone, and Charlie Paw, a respected building contractor. The Manor House property goes back to the early 1800s, originally being deeded to the Connecticut Land Company as part of the Western Reserve by King Charles of England. In 1983, this turn-of-the-century estate was purchased by its present owners, Keith and Betty Lou Johnson, and in October of 1984, after extensive kitchen remodeling for commercial cooking, the manor opened its doors to the public as a restaurant with a country atmosphere. Part of the Johnson Manor ambiance is the horse-drawn carriage rides. These carriage rides provide shuttle service for restaurant patrons from the parking lot to the Manor House doorsteps and back. Along the way, the carriage passes the Carriage House shops, a row of specialty stores including a candy shop, a greenhouse, a candle shop, a Christmas boutique, and an old-fashioned ice cream parlor. On Saturday, August 24th, the ambiance of this quiet turn-of-the-century estate began to change. With the Johnson Manor staff already on hand and hard at work, Jim John and one of his project committees arrived to stake and line the fields for positioning the cars. Seeing how they would be using 5 different display fields throughout the estate, before starting and again during the work, many discussions were held to determine just how to proceed with this project. As the work continued under threatening and overcast skies, a dampness hung in the air, providing occasional problems with the club's spreader. Finally, after 2 years of extensive planning and preparation, the morning of Sunday, August 25th arrives. The Johnson Manor Car Show is about to begin. One of the first cars on the scene was Ken McDowell's McLaren, the Sunoco Special. This car was originally built and raced by Bruce McLaren, becoming a world-class champion in its class. McLaren sold the car to Roger Penske, who, with driver Mark Donahue, raced the car, also taking world-class honors. With the car having such a prestigious background, Ken and his crew take their time nursing the car off the trailer and into position.
Okay, let it go. Let it go.
Okay, well, just keep pushing. Keep going. Okay, just stop right there.
As the McLaren is placed into position, other automobiles arrive, resembling an unscheduled cavalcade of automotive history. The cars and their owners come from miles around to see and be seen among their peers. So let's sit back and enjoy the show. Although cars have arrived from Cincinnati, Columbus, Toledo, and Erie, the star of the show is this local celebrity, a 1936 Duesenberg once owned by actor Clark Gable. We asked owner Al Ferrara of Gates Mills, Ohio, about his involvement with the AACA show and the Gable car.
Well, we're here with the AACA fall meets, and we have a couple of meets a year, and this is about the last big meet of the year locally. And I was asked to bring the Gable car this year to highlight the meets. And this is the Gable car. It was purchased in 1936 by Clark Gable of Hollywood. He had seen a car similar to this built for Gary Cooper in 35, and he wanted one, so he got the number 2 job that was built. There was only 2 of these cars built.
You say there was only 2. What year is this car?
This is a 36. The Gary Cooper car is a 35. The other car is still out on the West Coast. It's out in Long Beach, California at Briggs Cunningham's museum. And this car was built in 36, delivered to him in 36 in the Hollywood showroom. And he owned this car up and through the war. And when he went into service, the car was on his estate. In about 46, he released the car for sale, and he went to a fellow by the name of Georgie Stoll, musical director of MGM. Georgie kept the car about 2 years and then sold it to a used car dealer in Hollywood, Bob Roberts. He specialized in high-priced movie star cars, Rolls Royces, Duesenbergs, Hispanos, Asadas. And the car was for sale at that time, and it was sold to a collector in Chicago, D. Cameron Peck. He was head of the Bowman Dairy there in Chicago. He in turn bought this car from Bob Roberts out of Hollywood and had the car delivered to him in Chicago. His health went bad, and he had to dispose of all the cars, and decided to sell this car. This car was bought by a gentleman out of Ithaca, New York by the name of P.T. Egbert, chairman of the American Locomotive Company of Schenectady. He owned the car about 10 years, and finally he was up at the age where he retired from the chairmanship of the American Locomotive Company, and I had heard that he had retired, and I contacted him and was able to buy the car.
Even though Al Ferrara's Duesenberg took center stage at Johnson Manor, other grand classics were nearby. The Auburn Automobile Company was represented by this beautiful 1930 Auburn Speedster. Auburns were manufactured from 1903 through 1936, and during that time built a reputation for strongly built and well-designed automobiles. This model certainly displays these characteristics. Another famous mark among the automobiles displayed at Johnson Manor was the classic Packard. Known for its tasteful designs and engineering developments, this 1934 Packard continued the tradition of excellence typical of this luxurious motor car. This Packard is a Super 8 7-passenger sedan with a synchromesh gearbox, vacuum power brakes, and centralized chassis lubrication. Also on display with the Duesenberg, Auburn, and Packard were several other classic automobiles. These cars exemplified the style, glamour, and performance associated with automobiles typical of this era. With such a large number of antique and classic automobiles displayed at Johnson Manor, touring the grounds was a very exhausting experience. We caught up with AACA member Jack Trefney after his tour and asked about his involvement with these lovely old machines.
How long have you been interested in antique automobiles, and basically what spurred your interest?
Well, I've always enjoyed the antique automobiles, and I've been in the club since 1951, which is about 34 years, and I purchased my rolls at that time and have enjoyed all the functions and so forth.
So you've had this car for 30-some years right now?
Yes.
Were you the original owner of this car?
No, I bought the car in 1951, so it was about 22 years old, and drove it all original up until about 1958, and then it went through a restoration for 3 years, and I changed the color from the original black to the pearl gray, which it is today, which is more flattering for the car, and also the red wheels set it off better too.
Very good. How many miles do you have on this car, and approximately how many do you put on a year?
Well, it had 49,000 on it when I bought it in 51, and now has about 87,000, which is 38,000 that I put on, and so I only drive it about 2,000 miles a year.
Very good. Do you have any other cars also, Jack?
I have one other car. It's a collector's car. It's a 1964 Carmen Ghia convertible.
What are some of the other interesting cars that you're interested in or you would consider your favorite type cars?
Well, I enjoy the classics most of all. They're the cars built from 1925 through 48, but I like them all. I'd have a big collection if I had the money.
Right, I think we all would. How many different types or classes of cars are here today? Do you know?
Oh, this pretty much covers all classes of cars. There's sports cars, there's antiques, there's classics, there's special interest, there's Milestone. I even think there's some Woodies around. This pretty much covers all the cars.
Any idea how many cars are here today?
I don't know how many they have registered, but I imagine around 300 to 400.
Jack wasn't too far off with his estimate. A total of 440 automobiles had been assembled at Johnson Manor, and, as he pointed out, this total included other classes of cars aside from the antiques and classics. The special interest class, for example, featured many different styles of street rods and custom cars. This candy apple red 1950 Ford is a two-door custom coupe with Frenched headlights and a shaved hood. Body shaving and Frenched headlights were very popular traits on customized cars in the 1950s, as evidenced by this 1953 Oldsmobile. Ford-built cars have always been among the favorites for custom car designers. This Ford is a 1932 Highboy, 5-window coupe with a chopped top and a dropped front axle. Other rod and custom cars displayed in this group included a Henry J, modified for racing, a 1930 Ford Coupe, a 1934 Ford Street Rod, this blue Highboy Roadster, and this 1937 Ford Coupe. One of the most unusual automobiles in the hot rod class was this 1949 Mercury Lowrider. The car originally started out as a 4-door sedan, but has since received a full custom conversion. The Mercury has Frenched headlights and lake pipes, and because of its orange paint scheme is called Just Peachy by its owners. Muscle cars were also on display in the special interest class at Johnson Manor, as shown by this 1969 Chevy Nova. This Nova has a 396 cubic inch power plant with dual Holley carbs. Not all automobiles displayed in a car show have undergone extensive restoration. The owner of this 1931 Sayers & Scoville is just getting started. This car is a Superliner Lakewood sedan and is believed to be the last of its kind in the world today. Its cost new was $4,275. Although the bulk of the cars displayed at Johnson Manor belonged to members of the Antique Automobile Club, other organizations also participated in this event. Members from the United States Trans Am Club and the Nifty 50s Car Club were on hand, helping with the celebration. The Trans Am Club was founded in 1979 to promote interest in the Pontiac and Formula automobiles as legendary American sports cars. On the other hand, the Nifty 50s Club promotes a more traditional line of cars, automobiles built during the 1950s era. Even with hundreds of cars available for inspection, the Johnson Manor Car Show had a few other surprises in store for its visitors, making this show rather unique. Entertainment was available in the form of a 40-piece orchestra, and a dining tent on the grounds served not only hot dogs and hamburgers, but complete rib dinners for those spending the day. With cars ranging from a 1903 Oldsmobile to a 1983 Ferrari and a gate attendance of over 8,000, the Antique Automobile Club of America's Golden Anniversary Party, the Johnson Manor Car Show, was declared a big success.